The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
A certain Pharisee invited Jesus to dine with him, and he entered the Pharisee's house and reclined at table. Now there was a sinful woman in the city who learned that he was at the table in the house of the Pharisee. Bringing an alabaster flask of ointment, she stood behind him at his feet weeping, and began to bathe his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and anointed them with the ointment. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who and what sort of woman this who is touching me, that she is a sinner." Jesus said to him in reply, "Simon, I have something to say to you." "Tell me, teacher," he said. "Two people were in debt to a certain creditor. One owed 500 days' wages, and the other owed 50. Since they were unable to pay the debt, he forgave it for both. Which one of them will love him more?" Simon said in reply, "The one, I suppose, whose larger debt was forgiven." He said to him, "You have judged rightly." Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? When I entered your house, you did not give me water for my feet, but she has bathed up them with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but she has not ceased kissing my feet since the time I entered. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she anointed my feet with ointment. So I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, hence she has shown great love. But the one to whom little is forgiven loves little." He said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." The others at table said to themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" But he said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We have often heard, I think, at least I have in recent years, don't be judgmental. When you think of it, we got to make judgments all the time. If you have children, you make judgments of who they play with, who they go with, who they associate with. We make prudent judgments as to perhaps our job and employment. We judge between the two offers that we have. We're constantly making judgment, but perhaps it'd be better to say, do not be condemning. That kind of judgment. Do not be condemning. And today, in our first reading from Paul's letter to Timothy, I thought, well, we have three examples in the readings. Let no one have contempt for your youth. Timothy was one of the companions of Paul in his missionary journeys, and he was young, and he was of some mixed ancestry, not all Jewish by any means. And so he was saying, don't let people put you down. Don't let people condemn you because you're young. And I thought about that many times. I said, you know, whether it be in our own faith, whether it be from other faiths throughout the world, we have to look for wherever the wisdom of God pops his beautiful head out. That we can learn. Whether we're old, we can learn from youth and vice versa. And a lot of times youth will write off those old curmudgeons. Well, there's a lot of wisdom in the old, there's wisdom in the youth. We have to seek God's truth wherever it is, so we don't condemn anybody. We may not like the judgment, we may think they're wrong, but we don't condemn them. That's the most important thing. We need to quote judgmentally. In the gospel today, another example, one we brought to Jesus, sorrowing for her sins, and of course the self-righteous were looking and saying, well, now, there you go again, one of those type of people, one of those people, one of those street people that come in and walk off, great unwashed and all this stuff. And Jesus simply said to his host, who loves more, to whom more has been forgiven? And so Jesus was saying to them too, don't be condemning. Yeah, you have to make judgments. Yeah, you don't want your daughter to be associated with a lot of prostitutes, and that's probably not a good idea. But you have to make a judgment, you know. But you don't condemn. How do we know how people got to where they got? And how have I gotten to where I've gotten? Only by the grace of God. As Paul said in another place, there, but for the grace of God will I, a sinner. So we cannot condemn. We have to judge. We have to be prudent. We have to step back and say, no, I don't think my children should go there, or no, I don't think this person should be on our agenda, whatever. But we don't condemn where they're at, because we know not how they got there. And Jesus himself was condemned. Who was this to forgive sins? Well, the wisdom of God has come to us through his Son Jesus. Jesus is saying to us, not only forgiving the sins of the woman, but saying, to one to whom more has been forgiven, and one loves more. And so sometimes people get discouraged. Like, you know, priests will tell you in the confession, I hear people on say, oh, I just keep doing this over and over. I did this terrible thing. Well, sometimes, even though sin is a tragedy in our life, especially if it's a serious sin, can we use our mistakes to grow so that we don't condemn others, and others may condemn us, but we don't condemn others, but we learn from our mistakes, we learn from the sins we've committed. By the grace of God, we grow into a more loving, caring kind of community.